BigCountryPreps.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, our daily look at an area football team and the key questions we're going to be answering about that team and our August 21st preseason preview here at Big Country Preps. I'm here with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom, and tonight, Dan, we've got the Hamlin Pied Pipers.
Yeah, and the Pied Pipers have a really good group back from last year's 5-5 squad. 14 of their 17 lettermen return, including 8 starters on offense, 9 on defense. So a good group back in a really good junior class that has gotten a lot of experience over the last couple of years. So I think it's going to be an interesting year for Coach Jason Botus and his Pied Pipers, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the biggest questions they'll be facing here in just a few minutes.
All right, and with that, before we get started on tonight's countdown, we want to remind you YouTubers to please hit the subscribe button. And then after that, please hit the bell so you get daily reminders whenever we come up with a new podcast here at Big Country Preps. And here's a quick thank you to a couple of our sponsors, beginning with For the Love of the Game Broadcasting and our old friend Terry Slavens, owner of K-Lakes 93.5 FM out of Breckenridge, 97.7 FM KATX out of Eastland, Classic Country AM 1330 out of Graham, 94.7 FM KWKQ out of Graham, KROO 1430 AM out of Breck, and KWBY 98.5 FM out of Ranger. That is For the Love of the Game Broadcasting. Also, Rob Durham, sales consultant at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac up in Breckenridge. If you're in the market for a vehicle, new or used, give Rob a shout at 254-559-2266. That's Rob Durham up at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac in Breckenridge.
And with that, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's talk about some of the biggest questions facing the Pied Pipers this season. And right off the bat, I think a big one is just how much will they improve in Coach Jason Botus' second season at the helm? I thought they made some strides last year and going 5-5, got off to a good start against a really good schedule for them, and then finished the year with one district win, but probably improved in just terms of competitiveness a little bit. Now they're going to try to take a step forward and get back into that playoff picture. How much will we see just the familiarity with Coach Botus and maybe just having those schemes established and expectations established? How big, what can we expect this year just in terms of those things to contribute to the improvement of the Pied Pipers this season?
My question about them is I really think that the Pied Pipers will bring a better product to the table this year. As long as they stay healthy, it will be an improved product. Unfortunately, they are in a monster district. They're in there with Albany. They're in there with what is expected to be a very good Miles team. Roscoe, as we know, is going to field a good product again. And so my question is, even though they're better, will it translate to a better record and a higher seed? That's the question. They're going to be better if they stay healthy, but will they benefit from it with a higher playoff seed?
Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting because even when you look at the back end of that district, you've got a Cross Plains team that's had a lot of success in recent years against with Coach Daniel Purvis, and then a Winters team that's moving down from Division One to Division Two. So really no gimmies. So I think it will be interesting to see if this Hamlin team can get into that playoff picture there. The third question I have is just one about leadership. We talked a little bit about the junior class they have. This is the first time really in 3 years that Hamlin will be relying on juniors and seniors rather than freshmen and sophomores. So I'm excited to see how that plays out and see what kind of leadership this group can get now that they've finally got some guys with some experience in those key positions. So I'm interested to see if that will also help and contribute to the improvement of this team because they've got some guys, even though they're juniors right now, that have played a lot of football, and I would suspect that will be a benefit this year for the Pied Pipers.
All right, now let's take a quick look at Hamlin's schedule for 2024. That's not an easy start out of the gate for Hamlin. That's an improved Anson program they're going to start off with on August the 30th, and a good Seymour team on the road. Then we have it's a little more equitable for the rest of the non-district portion with Crosbyton at home. Monday on the road, that's September 20th, and then Quanah on September 27th before an open date on the 4th of October.
Yeah, so 3, I would say, winnable games there going into the district play, and you open district with what I think is going to be a really big game for Hamlin at Winters on October 11th. They come home to play Roscoe on the 18th rather of October, and then they go 2 miles for a really tough game to close out October on the 25th, and then on November 1st they host Cross Plains for another one that I think will be really big if they hope to make the playoffs, and they close things out November 8th at Albany. So kind of an interesting schedule. I think that there's a pretty good balance of tough tests and winnable games in that non-district, and then In the district portion, I think you kind of you have the tough ones there, and they're kind of staggered with the kind of those must-win games. So I think this schedule could play out well for Hamlin. I think it's going to be interesting regardless.
I early on the road game at Winners. That's one that I really think Hamlin needs.
Mhm.
That's a big one for them to get off on the right foot. Because after that, you got Roscoe and you got Miles. You drop that game of Winners, suddenly you might be looking at an 0-3 start in district. They don't want to do that. So it's that big game that they're at Winners is going to be very important, in my
Yeah.
opinion, for the Pied Pipers.
Yeah, definitely. I think at Winters and then the two obviously at home against Roscoe and Cross Plains, those are going to be massive for this team. And we'll see if they're ready at a place program wise rather to compete in those types of games. Those are the ones you're going to have to win if you have to make the playoffs.
All right, with that, before we wrap up tonight's edition of the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, the Hamlin Pied Pipers, we want to remind you that August 21st is the big day here at Big Country Preps. That's the day we release our annual preseason preview with a comprehensive look, the most comprehensive look at high school football in the Big Country, bar none, from any media source. Now, for since 2018, we've had a base 40, which is the 40 11-man teams in the Big Country area, and then a few outside of the Big Country area. We're now expanding. We're going to a base 45 and then plus 6-man coverage as well. We're adding Graham, we're adding Glen Rose, we're adding Mineral Wells, we're adding Miles, and we're adding Toller. So we'll have a base 45 plus 6-man coverage this year. So don't forget to sign up and join in on the fun.
And with that, it's time to wrap up this episode of our Countdown to Two-A-Days series. We appreciate you joining us, and make sure you come back tomorrow when we do preview the Miles Bulldogs here at BigCountryPreps.com.